a sister's love. The quaint charm of Ravensbrook village, nestled in a secluded valley of Picador, had been obscured by the shadows of recent events. Once a serene haven with ivy-clad cottages and lush trees, it now suffused with an air of fear and apprehension. The usual bustle of village life had dwindled to a nervous whisper, a stark contrast to the vibrant community it once was. As the full moon ascended into the night sky, its silvery light poured over the village, casting long shadows that seemed to reach out and envelop everything in an eerie embrace. The moon's glow illuminated the winding paths, the darkened shops, and the ancient oak trees that stood like sentinels over the village. Inside one of these weathered cottages, Samantha Delaney paced anxiously. Her home, a small, cozy abode with flower boxes under the windows, felt more like a prison tonight. The scent of lavender from the garden outside had mixed with the musty odor of worry, filling the air. Her younger sister, Emily, had been missing for over a week. Samantha, a woman in her early 30s with a resilient spirit, was clouded with exhaustion and fear. She had always been the pillar of strength for Emily since their parents died when she was 20 and Emily was 16. The two sisters had shared a close bond, their lives intertwined with a love that had seen them through many trials. Emily's disappearance had shaken her to the core. Over the past months, the village had been struck by a series of unsettling disappearances, each case more mysterious than the last. But the loss of Emily was different. It was personal. Samantha had seen Emily's bright smile and heard her laughter only days before, and now the vibrant life that Emily brought to the cottage was absent, leaving a void that seemed to echo through every room. Desperate to find Emily, Samantha had scoured every corner of the village, but to no avail. It wasn't until she heard whispers of a grim and ancient mansion on the outskirts of the town that her heart skipped a beat. The mansion had once belonged to King Alaric, a tyrannical ruler whose reign was marked by cruelty and dark rituals. After his death, the mansion had fallen into disrepair, and locals claimed strange noises emanated from it at night. Kidnappers might be using the place to keep their victims or perform nefarious activities. One villager had hinted, determined to find any clue that might lead her to Emily. Samantha decided to investigate the mansion. The night air was cool and crisp as she ventured into the darkness, her path illuminated only by the moonlight filtering through the dense canopy of trees. The village streets were deserted, the few remaining villagers having retreated behind locked doors and drawn curtains, unwilling to face the dark mystery that had fallen upon their home. As Samantha approached the mansion, its looming presence became more apparent. The estate was surrounded by a rusted iron gate, its intricate patterns almost obscured by decades of neglect. The gate creaked open with a reluctant groan as she pushed it aside, revealing a path choked with overgrown weeds and fallen leaves. The mansion itself was a shadowy silhouette against the moonlit sky, its once grand architecture now a skeletal frame draped in shadows. The mansion's facade was marked by time and decay. Ivy crawled up the walls, and the once majestic columns were now crumbling. Windows, long broken, gaped like empty eye sockets, their glass shattered and weathered. The moonlight cast long, ghostly shadows that danced across the crumbling stone, creating an almost sentient darkness. Samantha's heart pounded as she ascended the uneven steps to the front door. The door was a massive, heavy slab of wood, adorned with intricate carvings now barely visible beneath layers of grime and rot. With a deep breath, she pushed it open, the hinges protesting with a mournful creak. Her flashlight revealed the inside of the mansion, a labyrinth of decay filled everywhere. Dust-covered furniture, once elegant and ornate, was now draped in cobwebs. The grand foyer, though expansive, felt oppressive in the dim light. Faded tapestries hung limply from the walls, their colors muted and grim. The air was thick with the musty scent of neglect and the faint, unsettling odor of something older and darker. Samantha's flashlight cast long, trembling beams of light that revealed the mansion's derelict splendor. The once grand staircase, its banister chipped and worn, seemed to beckon her further into the gloom. As she ascended the stairs, the floorboards groaned beneath her weight, each step echoing through the cavernous hallways. The mansion felt alive with an uneasy presence, as though the walls themselves were watching her. The silence was punctuated only by the distant sound of dripping water and the occasional rustle of unseen creatures. Samantha's search led her to a large, dimly lit room. Her flashlight flickered and revealed a space filled with faded grandeur, cracked marble floors, dust-covered chandeliers, and faded murals of a bygone era. In the center of the room stood a tall, dark figure, its form merging with the shadows. Samantha's breath caught in her throat as she tried to make out the figure's features. The man, or whatever he was tall and gaunt, with skin as pale as the moonlight. His eyes gleamed with a cold, predatory light, and his smile was both alluring and terrifying. Trembling with a mix of fear and determination, she asked, "Who are you?" Her voice barely a whisper. The figure stepped forward, his movement fluid and unsettling. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice a low, sibilant hiss that sent chills down Samantha's spine. "This place is not for the living." Samantha's heart raced as the figure's eyes locked onto hers. The reality of the mansion's dark history and the figure's malevolent presence began to sink in. The true horror of her situation was only just beginning to unfold. Samantha's heart raced as she stood before the creature, her flashlight beam illuminating a pile of familiar items scattered across the dusty floor. There lay Emily's favorite blue scarf, the one she wore on chilly mornings alongside her beloved journal, its cover adorned with colorful stickers. The sight sent a surge of hope through Samantha, but it was quickly overshadowed by a wave of dread. She screamed her sister's name, her voice trembling with urgency. "Where are you?" The silence that followed felt heavy, almost suffocating, as the creature shifted slightly, blocking her path. "You shouldn't have come here," it hissed, its voice a chilling whisper that echoed off the crumbling walls. "This place is not for the living." Samantha's grip tightened on the flashlight, a desperate resolve igniting within her. "Where is my sister? What have you done to her?" The creature's lips curled into a sinister smile, revealing sharp teeth that glinted in the dim light. "She is safe, for now, but you ventured too far into my domain. You'll never leave." Fear coursed through Samantha's veins, but she refused to back down. "I will find her. I will take Emily back." With a sudden, fluid motion, the creature lunged at her, its long fingers reaching out as if to snatch her away. Heart pounding, Samantha swung the flashlight, the beam catching the creature in the face and momentarily blinding it. In that instant, Samantha bolted past the creature, her feet pounding against the cold marble floor. The distant sound of dripping water and the rustling of unseen creatures accompanied her frantic dash down the shadowy corridor. "You think you can escape?" the creature called after her, its voice a menacing echo. Samantha didn't respond. She pushed forward, her thoughts solely focused on Emily. The weight of fear clung to her, but the image of her sister's bright smile pushed her onward. "I swear," she whispered fiercely to herself, determination flooding her heart. "I will come back for you, Emily." As she burst out of the mansion and into the cool night air, she paused to catch her breath, the chilling promise of the creature echoing in her mind. The moon hung high above, casting an ethereal glow, a silent witness to her vow as she turned back to face the dark silhouette of the mansion. Days passed, filled with desperation and determination. Samantha scoured the village for answers, and in her search, she encountered an elderly villager known for his wisdom and knowledge of Ravensbrook's dark history. "The creature you faced is not just King Alaric," he revealed, his voice heavy with sorrow. "It's the manifestation of your sister, Emily. When she was taken, the king's dark magic twisted her spirit, binding her to this cursed place. She has become a monster, fueled by pain and rage." Samantha's heart sank, but she clung to hope. "How can I save her?" "You must perform a series of rituals," the village elder explained, his gaze serious. "Each one will cleanse her of the darkness that has consumed her. But you must hurry. The longer she remains in that form, the harder it will be to bring her back." Determined to save Emily, Samantha gathered the villagers, sharing the elder's words and the urgent need to act. Though fear lingered in their eyes, many rallied behind her, remembering the light and joy Emily had brought to their lives. Together, they prepared for the rituals. Under the guidance of the elder, they set up altars in the woods near the mansion, each adorned with symbols of purity, flowers, candles, and offerings that represented love and hope. The first ritual required them to summon the spirit of King Alaric to plead for Emily's release. As they chanted, the air crackled with energy, and a chilling wind swept through the trees. The dark figure of the king materialized, his eyes narrowed in anger and confusion. "Why do you disturb my peace?" he hissed, his voice echoing through the night. Samantha stepped forward, her voice steady despite her fear. "We are here to take my sister, Emily. She is trapped in your kingdom." The king's expression shifted, torn between fury and a flicker of sorrow. "You offended me. She is a part of me now, bound by my curse until you do the right thing. Release her, and we will give you the proper burial you were denied," the elder said. The king hissed and left. They lit more candles, whispered more ancient incantations, and offered their memories of joy shared with Emily, her laughter, her kindness, and her love for them all. With each ritual, Samantha and the villagers drew closer to Emily. Finally, they prepared for the last ritual, the most potent of all. That one was to confront Emily in her monstrous form to save her and bring her back to her human form. With trembling hands, Samantha opened the big door of the house and led the group into the mansion once more, armed with the words of the rituals and a heart full of love. Inside, the figure twisted and writhed, and there stood Emily, transformed into a fearsome creature, her eyes wild and filled with anguish. Samantha felt her heart shatter at the sight. "Emily," she called, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "I'm here to take you home." The monstrous form hesitated, confusion flickering in her eyes. "No, Emily. Remember our love. Remember who you are," Samantha urged, taking a step closer despite the looming threat. With each word, Samantha recited the final incantation, pouring every ounce of love and memory into her voice. The air thickened and the shadows pulsed around them, wrestling for control. Emily's monstrous form trembled, a battle raging within. I can't," she cried, her voice breaking as she fought against the darkness that clawed at her. "Just hold on to me," Samantha pleaded. "We'll fight this together." With one final surge of energy, the darkness enveloping Emily began to shatter, and a bright light burst forth, illuminating the mansion and the surrounding woods. The monster's howls of anguish filled the air as the shadows receded, revealing the Emily Samantha had always known, vulnerable yet strong. With tears streaming down her face, as the light faded, Emily collapsed into Samantha's arms, trembling but alive. "Samantha, I thought I lost you," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You're safe now," Samantha said, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "I'll always find you, no matter what." With the threat of the king's spirit quelled and Emily restored, the villagers emerged from the mansion, their faces a mix of awe and relief. They had witnessed a true miracle, a bond of sisterhood that had conquered darkness and despair. As dawn broke over Ravensbrook, casting a warm glow over the village, Samantha and Emily stood together, stronger than ever. The mansion, now silent and still, became a symbol of their journey, a reminder of the darkness they had faced and the light they had reclaimed. The king was properly buried as promised. His spirit went to rest, and Ravensbrook had some peace. Please share and subscribe for more stories. Thank you.